It's really sour apple that I think about whenever I see Gobi. It's so sour. Like my mouth is watering thinking about how gummy he is.
I love to hear about the moon goddess.
Again?
Tell me, Mama.
A beautiful woman and a handsome man were in love. But she accidentally took a magic potion and floated away, leaving her true love behind.
As a kid, I heard stories of Chang'e and the moon goddess, and this is a modern take. And as I was discovering her, she became larger than life. I loved how outrageous she was, and how her highs were so high and her lows were so low.
I love Auntie May. I mean, she's such a romantic. She believes in this story so much, and I think that enthusiasm and that heart really drew me to this character.
There were a lot of factors. I love science and space exploration, and so I felt very akin to Fei immediately when I first started reading it. As you go through the script, it becomes this really, really heartfelt story about these two women lifting each other up in the end, and moving through their grief. It was also really meaningful for me to talk about my heritage and share my family's traditions.
Mrs. Jeong plays the stepmom or the new woman that represents a new life, which represents for Fei having to let go of an old way of life. You're the main character's foil. You're the main character's obstacle. The idea of stepmothers or step-parents is not necessarily, in Korean culture, it's like we don't talk about that. It's not present. And alongside of that, I do think that expressing and showing in an Asian household a blended family is really important. How it's totally normalized.
Well, I love the auntie and the chicken. I think I'm a chicken. I'm like a rooster, chicken, something. I like playing both roles. To me, it's really in service of the story, and I'm really an auntie in life, and so it's very appropriate, and it's like all about the food. So to me, it's really fun.
I love the character, how there was an innocence about him. There was a childlike existence to Gobi, but at the same time, there was something of an old soul in terms of kind of like pain and loss and suffering too, which, was a really great juxtaposition of putting your best face forward in spite of having a lot of pain. So that was very intriguing to me.
It's always about the main character to me. Fei has got this spark in her eyes that she believes the impossible is possible. I related to that when I animated Ariel. It was the same thing. Like, here's this 12-year-old girl that's going to build a rocket to the moon to meet a goddess on the dark side of the moon. How is this going to happen? But she's so smart. I love the idea that we have a girl like that you're going to have to animate, those moments of thinking in her eyes. And on the other hand, there's this heart belief that her mom saw what no one else could see and imagined what other people don't believe, and Fei carries that with her.
You and me, Bungie. We're the last true believers. We're gonna prove she's real. I have a superpower!
It's the confronting of loss that frees both Fei and Chang'e. They both have to deal with their loss to then be able to move on. But I like how boldly it really starts with, here is this young person's grief to carry and to transform herself.
At one point, Fei says, I just want things to go back the way they were. Who doesn't feel that way today in this pandemic? And when our world is turned upside down, you want to go back. This film reminds me that no, you don't go back. You only live life forward. And to go through it, you have to go through the hard thing. You have to go through, in our movie, It's the chamber of exquisite sadness. And it's exquisite because on the other side of it is joy and the ability to embrace change and love. This is the thing that this movie has that I believe is what I want to share with the world.
I think the one message here is that's really unique is that grief and loss are part of an experience that has to be accepted in life and in love, and that we can't have life without those experiences, and to accept that as part of it.
With Fei, using her imagination and her love of science to kind of find love despite loss, I think is such a wonderful thing, and it's something we should all be mindful of.
Every family has some sort of strife, and in this movie, Fei and her dad go through a huge loss. And it's a really difficult thing to address, but it's in reaching out and letting yourself be open to other people that you find love and joy again, to be able to move forward. Your family can be found anywhere, and I think that's an important message.
Fei and Chang'e have this very unique relationship where at first they seemed like very different people, and they would think so themselves, like from completely different worlds, these two. Yet at the end they come together and they realize that not only are they more similar than they think, but they actually need each other in order to change. And I think that's such a great message about inspiring people to reach out to their communities, reach out to people who you may not know very much about, and learn something new about them. And maybe you'll find love in some unexpected places.
Opening your heart is a central theme of the film that I think is so timely, particularly this year.
Audrey, when she wrote the film, she always said all of my projects are about healing. I write to heal. In this time that we're in, I think a lot of people just want to feel not alone in whatever they're going through. We're all in this together, and I think that hopefully our film will just bring a little bit of relief and healing and a bit of joy into their day.
Chang'e loves it up there alone. That's why she took both immortality pills instead of saving one for Ho Yi.
Actually, according to my mother, I might be related to Ho Yi.
Ho Yi the archer! Chou!
Jin!
I came into the project really early on, and I got to see some of the drawings and hear the songs. So to me, it was really amazing just to see the project from the very beginning stages until the end product now.
It was wonderful, working with Glen Keane, the director, and there was a point where I got emotional in one of the scenes with Fei, and it was really unexpected, and I've never gotten emotional during a voiceover session before. So it's really one of my favorite things I've ever been a part of.
I think it really was the going to China, discovering the people, the warmth, the love, the family. I absolutely loved that. I loved working with the artists there. And when Celine showed me for the first time an image of Fei standing in front of these glowing spheres of lunaria, all I could do was laugh and cry at the same time. I'd never seen anything so beautiful. That's just one of my favorite memories.
Glenn, our director, he's just great. He voices, by the way, some of the side characters in this movie.
Working with Glenn has been like the joy of my life. He's such a beautiful, wonderful, loving man. And he set up a great environment of play. He allows you to go big and then draws you back in.
I had such a joy in seeing the work of my fellow castmates. You don't really get to spend time with them when you're recording. So really your experience of their performance is like when you get to see the film. And I was just so giddy and excited and proud to be of this all Asian cast, many of them who I am so inspired by myself. And I just feel like it's such a celebration.
And I have to say, when I saw the movie, and Philippa entered, I stood up and screamed. She's so epic in this movie.
I mean, working with Philippa in the studio, she's one of my acting idols. It was actually really distracting when we were doing scenes together because I just couldn't stop watching her. But she's so amazing, and I felt like I got to learn so much. And that's kind of been the whole process. Like, it's all these Asian American artists who have paved the way for people like me. I mean, I grew up wanting to be Sandra Oh, and I admire them so much for representing the community, and also just like for making sure that whenever they meet young Asian artists, they also support them.
I think one of my first films I did in America, The Princess Diaries, Audrey was a part of writing, and this being her last project. I don't even have the right words. You know, I could say meaningful, but it's really important to being a part of her legacy.
Oh, hi, I'm Gobi. What's your name?
I'm Fei-Fei.
I'm keeping these sweet moon pants. Dig it.
Voiceover acting is a lot of fun. It's a more inward journey. You're not unlike live action where there's a lot of external stimuli that you can react to. You really have to kind of create your own imagination with the help of the director and the producers and the animators.
To me, it's such a different talent, you know. I mean, it's imagining a whole different kind of filmmaking, which it is. It really requires a lot of energy and trust in who you're working with.
I grew up on watching, Disney movies. It's one of the art forms that actually inspired me to go into performance. I love music so much. So actually, when I was singing Rocket to the Moon and learning all the music, that's when I felt most connected to Fei-Fei. It was a huge privilege for me to be able to express myself through songs in this movie.
Hey, Chung, I'm gonna be there soon. In my rescue